Two people stopped taking the same GLP-1 medication on the same day. 6 months later, one still finds food easy to ignore. The other's cravings came roaring back within weeks. Same drug, same dose. The answer depends on a question scientists are still arguing about. Does this medication change your brain, or does it just borrow it for a while? To answer that, we need to be precise about what changing your brain would even mean. Your brain isn't fixed hardware. It rewires constantly. Repeated experience strengthens some connections and lets others fade. That's neuroplasticity. But rewiring is slow. It needs repetition, and it needs time. A circuit doesn't change because something happened once. It changes because something kept happening. So the real question is whether this medication leaves a lasting mark on those circuits, or simply occupies them while it's present. Let's start with the case that something does change. Brain imaging shows that while on the medication, the reward response to food images drops. The circuits that light up for a milkshake go quiet. That's a real finding, but it's a snapshot taken while the drug is in the system. It tells us what's happening now, not what remains later. And it isn't only food. Some people report a reduced pull toward alcohol, nicotine, even compulsive shopping. That points to a shared reward pathway being turned down. There's also the group that stays lean after stopping. Not the majority, but they exist, and something about them held. And there's a subtler clue. Many of them describe their relationship with food as having changed, not just their appetite. That's a different kind of claim. So, case closed? Not quite, because the counter-evidence is just as strong. The regain data is the biggest problem for the permanent change theory. On average, people regain about 2 pounds a month after stopping. Appetite returns within weeks. The food noise comes back. If those circuits had truly been rewritten, that shouldn't happen so reliably. There's also the set point we covered last episode. The body defends a weight, and the medication never moved that defense. It only held it down. And mechanically, receptor activity normalizes once the drug clears. The signal stops, and the system drifts back toward its prior settings. Which is why most researchers currently describe these drugs as treatment rather than cure. They manage a condition while they're present. But there's a third possibility, and it's the one most coverage skips entirely. What if the drug doesn't rewire your brain, but instead creates a window in which you can? Here's the logic. Habits are learned through repetition under favorable conditions. And cravings make repetition very hard. It's the oldest problem in behavior change. People know what to do. What they lack is a stretch of time where doing it isn't exhausting. The medication lowers craving pressure. For the first time in years, eating a normal portion doesn't require a fight. Do that for months, and you're not simply eating less. You're rehearsing a new pattern, thousands of times, under conditions that finally let it stick. Portion sizes that feel normal. Meals that end when you're satisfied. A weekly shop that isn't built around what you're craving. That rehearsal is the brain change, not caused by the molecule directly, but made possible by it. This model fits the evidence better than either extreme. It explains the regain, and it explains the minority who hold. It also predicts something testable. The people who maintain should be the ones who use the window deliberately. And the ones who regain fastest should be the ones who change nothing but the dose. Same medication, opposite outcome, explained by behavior rather than biology. And that is roughly what the outcome data hints at, though this research is young, and the honest answer is that we don't fully know yet. So what do you do with an unfinished answer? Treat the medication as protected time rather than a cure. That reframes everything. Not how long can I stay on this, but what am I building while I'm on it? Build the eating patterns, the protein, the training, and the sleep while the pressure is low. Those are the things that persist when the drug doesn't. It also changes how you'd taper. Coming off slowly, with a doctor, while those patterns are still fresh, rather than testing them all at once. Which brings us back to our two people. The difference probably wasn't their biology. It was what each of them built while the noise was quiet. Next episode, we look at the cultures with the lowest obesity rates on Earth and what they do differently. No prescription required. Subscribe, and I'll see you there.